Hey there, folks. In this next video, we're going to talk about how to compare and order numbers written in different formats. And those formats are going to range from integers to fractions to decimals to percents to exponents to square roots to cube roots and to scientific notation. Oh my. So we're going to take all of these different formats of numbers that we've practiced so far and learn how to write them in order and compare those numbers. Some helpful hints as we do this. We always want to simplify numbers whenever possible. Fractions, percents, and non-perfect square and cube roots we want to convert to decimals. And scientific notation we want to convert to standard form. So these first three sets of numbers we're going to order these from least to greatest. This is a section that I will allow you to use a basic four-function calculator on, simply to alleviate some of the pain of the long division that you otherwise might see in this section. A four-function calculator is one that looks like this on my screen, and I have those available in the classroom. They're basically ones that will add, subtract, multiply, and divide for you. Okay, they don't have exponent keys. They don't have anything fancy on there, but they at least save you a little bit of time when doing some division and multiplication. So we're going to start out by taking each of our numbers here in this list and converting them to decimal format. So starting with 2/5, okay, 2/5, you should really be able to do this without the calculator because 2/5, if you think about making the denominator 10, 5 times 2 is 10, so we can make the top 2 times 2 and we get 4/10. So this really becomes the fraction 4/10, which is the decimal 0.4. So 2/5 becomes 0.4. 5.8 times 10 to the negative second, well, that's in scientific notation, and that's what we looked at in the last set of notes. That -2 exponent means I need to move this decimal point 2 places to the left. So one place would be 0.58, a second place would be 0.058. So this becomes 0.058 for our next number. Radical 3, we need to think what two perfect squares is radical 3 in between. Well, it's between radical 1 and radical 4, which means it's somewhere in between 1 and 2. 3 is closer to 4 than 1, so that means that radical 3 is going to be closer to 2 than 1, so it'll be higher than 1.5, maybe something like 1.7, okay, approximately, for radical 3, so we can say that next. Again, we're not finding exact values for these, we're just trying to order them from least to greatest, so it's okay if we're a tiny bit off for some of these square root conversions. 6% as a decimal, we should know that at this point, would be 0.06. 4/9, it's a number over 9, so anytime that happens, we know it's going to be a repeating decimal. This one would be 0.4 repeating. And finally, 2 to the negative first power. Negative exponents mean I can rewrite this as 1 over 2 to the positive first, which is 1/2, which is the decimal 0.5. So really, for this set of numbers, you didn't need to use the calculator too much. So now we're going to order these numbers from least to greatest. We're going to start out by thinking what are the smallest numbers. And so the smallest numbers are going to be the numbers that have the smallest digit starting in the units place, the ones place. Well, all of these numbers, with the exception of 1.7, have a 0 in the units place. Okay, so next we'll move on to the tenths place. And the numbers that have the smallest digit in the tenths place are 0.058 and 0.06. Okay, they each have a 0 here in the tenths place. So we know these are going to be our two smallest numbers. Now we need to determine which of these is the smaller of the two. So we'll move on to the hundreds place. 0.058 has a 5, 0.06 has a 6. So because 5 is less than 6, that means 0.058 is the smallest of our 6 numbers. So I'm going to label that as number 1 to remind myself it's the smallest. And then 0.06 is going to be my next smallest. So I'll label that with a 2. From there, we'll go back to the tenths place. I have a 0.4 here, and I have a 0.4 here. This decimal, remember, is 0.40. Well, this decimal here, 0.4 repeating, is 0.444 dot dot dot. If we go on to the hundreds place, we see that here 0 is less than 4. So that means that the 0.4 alone is our next smallest number, followed by the 0.4 repeating. .5 is going to be the next in our list, and then the largest number in our list will be the only number that has a 1 in the units place, 1.7. That's the only number in this list larger than 1, so it's the sixth number. So we're going to write these in order from least to greatest. I'm going to write them, however, in their original format that I was given here. So the first number, 0.058, was in scientific notation, so that's 5.8 times 10 to the negative second. My next number, 0.06, was the 6%. Next, I had 0.4, which was 2/5, followed by 0.4 repeating, which was 4/9, followed by 0.5, which was 2 to the negative first, and then our largest number, the 1.7, was the radical 3. Okay, looking at number 2, we have 4 to the negative second power, 7%, 1 over 15, 0.6 repeating, 2 over 29, and 6.8 times 10 to the negative second. So again, I'm going to start out by converting each of these numbers to decimals. 4 to the negative second, I can rewrite as 1 over 4 squared, which is 1 over 16. Now this is something that I will probably pull out my calculator for to try to convert 1/16 to a decimal rather quickly, instead of spending all of my time doing the long division. I ended up getting 0.0625 when I do this. So my first number is 0.0625. 7% is going to be the decimal 0.07. 1/15, I'll pull out my calculator for that as well. 1 divided by 15 is 0.06 repeating. The next number in our list looks similar to this, but it's 0.6 repeating, not 0.06 repeating, so be careful there. 2/29, again, I'll use my calculator for this. 2 divided by 29 gives me 0.0689655 dot dot dot. So I'm going to just estimate this. I'm going to estimate it to 0.06896, do a little bit of rounding there. And then finally, 6.8 times 10 to the negative second, I need to move my decimal point 2 places to the left. That's going to give me 0.068. Okay, so ordering these numbers from least to greatest, let's determine what the smallest of our numbers is. So the smallest of my numbers is going to be those that have the smallest tenths place. Well, 5 numbers all have a tenths place of 0, and that would be everything except for my 0.6 repeating. So because of that, I know this number is actually going to be my largest number. I'll label it with a 6 right now. Next, I'll move on to the hundreds place. And I have 4 numbers that have a 6 in the hundreds place. That would be 0.0625, 0.06 repeating, 0.06896, and 0.068. So that means that 0.07 is my next highest number in the list. I can label it with a 5. So we haven't found the smallest yet, but we've found the 2 largest numbers. Moving on to the thousands place. I have a 2 here. The next number after this 6 would be another 6. So I really have I have a 6 here in the thousands place. I have an 8 here, and I have an 8 here. Because 2 is the smallest of those, I know that 0.0625 is actually my smallest number overall, followed by my 0.06 repeating. So now I just need to determine which numbers are 3 and 4. I have 0.068, these both have an 8. The next number here, the 10,000ths place, is a 9, while the next number here would be a 0 because this decimal stops. So this is my 3rd number in the list, followed by my 4th number in the list. So in order from least to greatest, our smallest number, 0.0625, was 4 to the negative second power. Our next number was the 0.06 repeating, which was 1/15. Next, we had 0.068, which was 6.8 times 10 to the negative second power. Next, we had the 0.06896, which was the fraction 2/29. Fifth, we had 0.07, which was the 7%. And finally, our largest number was the 0.6 repeating, which was already given to us in decimal format. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is I want you to pause the video and I want you to try converting each of these numbers here to decimals and then ordering them from least to greatest, just like we did in examples 1 and 2. Once you think you have a good list, I want you to click play to check your answers. Okay, so let's check our answers to number 3 here. So first of all, if you convert each of these numbers to decimal format or just standard format, 6 to the 4th power is 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. And again, you can use a calculator for that multiplication. You get 1,296. Your next number in scientific notation, putting that in standard notation, you get 12,960. 130% is the decimal 1.3, followed by 1.3 repeating. 5 to the 6th power is 15,625, and then 5/4 is the decimal 1.25. So the smallest of those was 1.25, followed by 1.3, followed by 1.3 repeating. That gives us 5/4 and then 130% and then 1.3 repeating as the first 3 numbers in our list. 1,296 was next, which is my 6 to the 4th, followed by 12,960, which was my scientific notation number, followed by our 15,625, which was 5 to the 6th power. Okay. On the back side, you have 3 more examples. They're the exact same process, except for these, you need to list the numbers in order from greatest to least. Okay, what I'd like you to do for these examples here is I want you to stop the video. I want you to try as many of these you can on your own, so you can try 1 or 2 or all 3. When you get to class the next time, we're going to check our answers to these. So try to get all 3 of them done if you can, so that you have answers to check, and then we'll discuss any questions you have over those tomorrow. Have a nice day. You're all wonderful people, and take care.